morning, salutation, and all that good shit. Let's see. I got 1 week until I take the Praxis test, biology. I did a official test, an official practice test yesterday. And I got like there's 150 questions, you got 150 minutes. And I was flying through those questions like, come on, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. So I'm like, I'm gonna mess around and take this test right now. It's $130. And yeah. So I'm going. Then I get hit with something like, I don't know this one. All right, guess. And it was just like spread out in between all this shit. Like, I don't know this one either. So eventually I finished with 40 minutes to go, and my score was 104 out of 150. So my score, that translates to 69. I don't know what the passing level is. 70 would be nice. I still would have failed. I'm gunning for 80%. I think that's 120. But I feel good. Yeah, I got a 69. So that's whatever. But when I first started taking this test, I was at 50, 54, 56, 61, and now I'm up to 69. So the progression is linear. I'm feeling good. Good morning. I got the style of how I want to practice. So you go through your test and you go through it, and then you write down the ones you got wrong, and you also write down the ones you guessed on. And then you take a percentage of how many you guessed right. And then you go through each one and you look up what it is. You go one by one. I just started doing this like, this might be a tried and true method. I just found it out now. But you go through it, and you put them on note cards and you do that thing. I don't think I've ever done this in my life. So I don't study or write notes. I'm not saying I'm a genius or anything, but I'm at 50%. So 50% of this, I just kind of know or can feel it. But some shit like what side does oxygen come out of your heart? Oxygen infused blood, oxygenated. I don't know. Well, I didn't know, but it's the left side, and the right side it's the deoxygenated. What vein comes from your head down to your heart? I'm a little sketchy on this because I just learned this yesterday. I think it's the pulmonary one, jugular, but shit like that. I wouldn't know it because I don't do heart stuff. The insulin questions, that makes sense because my mom had diabetes, so I know that the insulin would bring down the sugar, but I didn't know which one brings up the sugar, because it's like a balance kind of thing, which is glucagon or some shit. I know photosynthesis, but I didn't know there was a second step called the Krebs. Now, right now, how I have it is, if I see it on paper, see it on the test, I can answer. Me talking about it, I'm not there. That's not the level I'm at. So that would push me to the 80% when I could like pull it out. But triglycerides, that is three fatty fats and one glycerol. Blubbers, how and the mnemonics of how I'm like popping things off. So there's one called homologous structure. Threw me up. And then analogous. Homologous and my pronunciation might be off, like I said before, but yeah. So I got a week. I'm pretty okay. I just gotta grind, keep doing this. But it's also important that I do my walks. So since I don't know if I told you, I'm trying to lose weight and I'm eating healthy and shit. So I'm up to 2 weeks. Been on that. Drinking water, no candy, no Snapples. I'm watching everything I eat, which this shit is, I hate it. It is annoying. I'll be like, I got a little app, whatever, and it'd be like, I had this, and it shows, let's say you're supposed to have, 356 calories or 456. I eat what they told me to eat, and I'm at like 300, so I still got more. By the end of the day, I have a whole bunch of, it's not even like all the way up there. The walking, that should be throwing it off because I'm burning calories, so it's trying to, you need energy to live and all that good shit. So the math is weird to me. So I never done this before. And some days, so I use chat. You guys gotta, so I use chat. I'd be like, so this is what my calories are. This is what I show the app thing, and like, this is what I'm at. So what can I eat? And they're like, you could have I don't eat strawberries. And that's the other part. I'm picky with what I eat. So I'm like, I don't eat that. Can I get a cheeseburger? He's like, well, if it's plain, like, no doubt. I only eat plain shit. So, and it's working. Now, when I start school, I'm gonna have the problem where I can't be walking like this, because right now it's 9 o'clock. I'd be at school already. And then when it gets cold, I can't be walking. It'll be all dark. So I might have to get a gym membership. There's a gym, the Gold's Gym, right? I passed it when I go to school, so I might either go there early on some days or come back on some days. Get some weight training in there. But yeah, so far so good, I guess. 2 weeks. Last night I was walking and I'm like, I want something. I just want like a little snack. So I'm like, can I have gum? They're like, no. Or I was like, can I have Tic Tacs? Like Tic Tacs have sugar in it. They're like low fat or whatever. There's sugar in it. Can I have gum? They're like, low fat gum. Cholesterol, whatever. It's like all the good foods have shit in them that's not good for you. Which got me thinking. Like people who get food stamps, back in the day, food stamps, where they would give you food, was the food that they were given, what's the word I'm looking for? Was it good for you food, or was it just cheap food? Because if it wasn't good for you, was that the plan? Not conspiracy and all that shit, but now back in the day, we didn't know. We didn't know what we didn't know. Now we know. Cheese isn't good for you. Processed shit isn't good for you. So, and now, for like a brief second, I was on welfare when I came back from Japan, and my brother suggested that while I'm getting my shit together, that I should get on welfare. I resisted, but I did. And the money I got, I just bought what I bought. And so, is it helping people who need the assistance if they're not eating a balanced diet? So I think at one point, McDonald's and you can get cigarettes. I don't know, but so yeah, that's all that. Keeping it moving, feels good. What else? I think I dodged the bullet, as they say. But I don't know. It just goes into a bigger thing. But as I was saying, I was talking to the one lady and it didn't work out, and that was that. And I don't think I would have been able to do this, like study. Like I'd be studying for 5 hours. some days. Not bragging or anything, but there's a lot of shit to cram. Because remember, I'm not a biology major, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of this shit, I'm just now wrapping my head around how carbon is in everything. And last night I studied Hardy wine thing, equilibrium, and the equation was P squared plus 2PQ plus Q squared equals 1. The P is for the recessive traits. Or no, the P is the dominant traits. The Q is recessive traits. Traits are alleles like blue-eyed and brown eyes. And, you know, if your mom has blue eyes, she may have like all that. I finally, that makes sense to me. But this equation was one of the questions on a couple questions on the test. So I sat down and this is how, you know, I'm excited. I'm just talking about this is how you can use chat or any AI thing. Now, yeah, you just pop it in there and it'll give you the answer. But that's not going to help you on a test. And if it's your job, well, who knows? Maybe in a job situation. But still, you should, if that's what you know, you got to know it, right? So I took a picture, screenshot of the equation. I'm like, explain this to me like I'm 5. And it might be like, well, there's Legos. It always goes to Legos. Like, but I did mess around with Legos, so whatever. And I'm like, I don't get that. Because I was watching, so I have another book. I guess that's the other thing about studying, right? You need lots of different styles. So I got different books. I got an online thing, practice test, and a chat. So I'm watching this video, and it's just like, and then the numbers just start popping up. Like, where'd you get that number? And it just kept throwing me off. So then I went to chat, and I'm like, explain this. And it's like, well, this is this. This is this. I'm like, that makes no sense. Explain it. Now, what's cool about AI things is if I was with a person, they might start getting annoyed. Like, I just explained it to you. What the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. Explain it. It's like, I am explaining it. And they would give up. But chat or any AI is just like, all right, let me try this. And then I was typing what I was thinking. Now you could talk into it, but I'm typing what I'm thinking. All right, so you mean this is this. So like the P squared, it's P squared equals 36. So I was doing 36 times 36 because that squared thing. But it's like, that's wrong. Like, what do you mean it's wrong? It says P squared. He's like, well, it's P squared equals 36, or 0.36, which means you got to get I was like, oh, you got to get that P by himself. So he's like, you take the square of it. You were squaring it. Like, oh. And I'm like, oh, that's 6. I know that. Because I'm not stupid. I remember bits and pieces. They just all got to click. So I worked it out, and then finally I'm throwing out the answers. He's like, that's correct, but you didn't label it correct. Like, I don't care. Is the numbers correct? And basically the numbers would be like the square roots of 81, 36. I'm like, what happens when they give you some bullshit number? I can't. It's like, you could round it, and if it's close enough. And I feel confident. I'm smiling. I got another, like the whole pundit square. If you know, you know. That shit, I could, like, you know, women are XY, you know, guys are XY, women are XX. So regardless of what the guy has, if the woman is dominant in the trait, guys are going to get it. So that's easy. I could get that one, but it's the dihybrid one. That's 2 traits, and then you could have tri. But again, they don't expect you to know all that, but they do ask the die one, so I gotta sit down today and practice all that. But yeah, I'm gonna end every part with a but yeah. I'm trying to get it all in. But the woman in charge of ordering all the books emailed me at 11:59 last night. And yes, I was up. I just came back from my walk. But I wasn't going to respond. Get out of here. But I did respond this morning because if we're in contact, that means I'm going to get more or less everything that I want before school starts. So I got books ordered. Right now I'm trying to get her to get me a USB digital microscope. Do we need it? No. But it won't hurt, you know. It's a digital microscope, so we're like looking at cells, and then I could beam it to our smart screens, which is some high-tech shit. That's my whole thing about this year, high-tech shit. So she keeps going back, do you really need it? I'm like, well, because we could take some pictures when the students who are absent, they will be able to see what we did at school. Even if they had the pictures, they ain't gonna do shit about it. But it does cover my butt. Like, you don't need to be in the lab. Here's the pictures of what we did. Annotate that. But so books and all that. And so I'm excited, you know, to start the year. Because last year and the year before, I started the year without having the books. Yeah, we're that kind of school. And it's kind of weird to be like, well, I would love to do this, but we don't have it. Now we could start. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be that teacher. Day one, I'm like, all right, here's our first book we're reading. Bam, day one, start reading that shit. Like, because last year I slowly ramped it up to, right now we're just getting our feet wet. And we're gonna jump in a couple of weeks when you're all acclimated. That shit didn't work because some would not acclimate. They're just like, like, no. Especially because I'm getting fifth graders we have two buildings. So elementary side and middle school side. So the one kid, his dad is just like, you know, he's nervous and shy. He was in elementary, now he's in middle school, so he's still adjusting. He was that way for the whole year. He did not change, which was irritating. Because it's like, all right, maybe it's possible he's overwhelmed. But this year, I'm working on different things, whatever. After I do my test, I'll start focusing on lesson plans and all that shit. Yeah. For my grad class, we just finished up. I mean, I learned a lot in the class because, you know, it's practice and repetition. But I didn't learn anything in this class because it was just literally make a lesson plan. We made a lesson plan in the last course. I was in two classes, and both of them were like make lesson plans. And I used the same lesson plan for both classes, tweaked a little bit. I got A's on them. I didn't read the comments because it was just, again, I was talking to that one girl, and she would just, I won't say waste my time because it was I who was unable to hang up the phone. But she just would be like, so you don't want to talk to me? Why don't you talk to me? Are you busy? And I'm like, I'm in grad school. I'm working on my grad stuff. You know, it's due in 2 weeks. It's due in a week. It's due tomorrow. And at each one of these checkpoints, she'd be like, so why don't you want to talk? I'm like, didn't I explain that I'm in a graduate level class? It's accelerated. And it just would not connect. Now, you might say, well, she doesn't. No. She just didn't care about my time. And then she has a daughter, and the daughter got into like a college prep type thing, right? Not college, but like gifted class. And she was saying, isn't that great? And I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work because you don't really care about people's time. You don't seem to, I didn't say that, but I'm feeling that. Like, I don't think you should put her in something where she's going to need, I didn't say that. But, so yeah, we ended 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know, 4 weeks ago, a month ago, I forget. But now I have all the time in the world to focus on shit. Now, not to throw anybody under any buses, because I'm not a bus thrower person. But I remember one conversation, she's like, if you were here, I would rub your feet. I'm like, why would you be touching my feet? I'm not a touch my feet kind of person. Don't do anything with my feet. Do not give me a massage. Do not do anything. Just sit off to the side and read a book as I get my shit done. And then when I get done, we could. But she's like, no, you wouldn't. Like, it was weird. But everyone's different. Like right now, home life. When my dad wakes up, he turns on the TV. And TV will be, right now, it rotates, which, you know, is interesting. But it's either the church channels, so, and just cycles through the different ones, and then go to game shows, Price is Right, and Make a Deal, news for a little bit, and then Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Not a million, Make a Deal. What's the other one? The one with the zonks? Anyway, so it'll be those. And then it used to be, and the kid is not yours, and all that shit. But now he's been watching Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. Like, it's like back-to-back Jeopardy, back-to-back Wheel of Fortune with Ken Jennings, the current host, but when he was just a contestant. And is it Ken Jennings? Alex Trebek is all like gushing. He's like, oh, you're now at 2 million. You are a champion. But you can see he's saying it like a father figure, like, wow. Because, you know, at some point, no one really went that long, right? But, so every now and then, and it's blasting upstairs. So my ear gets like, what is the question I might know? I might be like, I know that one. Or when it comes to the end, I want to know, I mean, I think he won up 75 times in a row. I don't know the ending one. So at the end, I'm like, did he win? Did he win? And then when they have another set where he's now the host, and I don't know, but it'll be like, what is 1 + 1? And the guy be like, 3. And he'll be like, no. Like, he says it so, no. Where I thought Alex Trebek would be like, no. But anyway, so that's upstairs. So then I might go downstairs, and now it's nice and quiet, and I'm studying. Then my dad will come downstairs and turn on that TV. So now I'm at the living room table, and now I'm blasted with this, and then it's just like, and you might say, why don't you tell your dad? Why don't you sit down with your? Shut up. Don't have this conversation with me. So then I'll go back upstairs and then turn off his other TV, and then I'm in quiet. So that's what I've been doing all thing. I mean, I can't tune it out, but I need all my brain functioning, or I need all my axons firing off to the dendrites. Those are the receivers, and the axons are the senders, like an aux cord. So I need that connection to work. I need not to be thing. But yeah, that's how I'm gonna end all these. But yeah, so I think I dodged the bullet where I don't know if I would be able to focus with said girl who would be all like just being annoying, free up my time. But there's no diss or disrespect to her, you know, no shade. We're two different people looking for two different things, and you can't force people to want what you want. I mean, I still believe you can, but this is a nice segue. So the other day, my aunt came over, and she's like, I think a Tesla came on TV. She's like, are you going to get a Tesla? And I'm like, nope. It's like, why not? I'm like, because Elon might turn that shit off. I didn't say turn that shit off, but Elon Musk might like turn it off or something. And she's like, he can't do that. And I'm like, but he can. So then she's like, what do you mean? If you pay for something, it's yours. No one could. And then she gave an example, and I get what she's saying. So then I'm like, but in the same way he got all those people fired, he couldn't do that, but he did. But she ain't getting my point. So then on the TV, it's talking about old people. Usually it's old people. Young people, we gotta, prepare for the future. Get our grave plots and all that shit. But we don't, because we think we're gonna live forever. But it was on the thing where they're like, oh, I can't afford a grave plot, a burial. And the lady's like, it's only 10 cents a day, or some shit like that. Like, really? And they go back and forth. Look, I'm gonna call him now. So the commercial that was on, because, they program these stuff. So then the news came on, and it's like, they're like, we paid for our plot, but we didn't get the plot. We're still waiting in 6 months. And it turns out the guy or the company ran off with $15,000 in fake grave things. So I'm like that. You see that? They paid for something, but they didn't get it. But then she was like, well, for the Elon thing, she's like, I'll sue. But in the case of the grave thing, you're dead. And grieving, who's going to sue? Like, who has the energy? Now, I don't know if you ever dealt with death in your family and you're like a point person. When my mom passed, I was in charge of calling the insurance, calling the funeral, all the paperwork stuff. And I handled it like a G. But, it gets kind of frustrated. Like, I'm calling, I'm like, can I blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we cannot do anything until we receive the death certificate. But we didn't get the death certificate because that's coming from, we're in Pennsylvania, but my mom went across the bridge to New Jersey, and they were taking forever. So when they finally gave it to us, they gave us 3. I mean, you pay for it. If you need more, you could buy it. I think it's like $20 each or whatever. But you got to give a death certificate to the mortgage people and this and that. But you only got 3, and they won't take copies. So all of that is kind of frustrating. And my brother was trying to be slick and copy it, but they're like, it needs to be the original. And he's like, and then, it's a hassle. So the whole suing thing, when I don't think that's gonna. So anyway, say all that to say, she was saying it can't be done. Now, my feeling is, yes, it shouldn't be done. I could agree with that. Elon shouldn't do those things. Like, he shouldn't hit the kill switch in my car. If I don't come to my car, remind me. But he can. And as I was saying, you can't force anybody to do anything. And at the same token, you can't force people not to do something. They're going to do what they're going to do, even if it is something they shouldn't do. And the shouldn't part is really subjective, right? And depending who you talk to, they might be high and mighty. Oh no, I would never. And they may be a person who, I don't know, you pick a scam or pick something that is not of whatever, and they're probably doing it. So, skewed. Like, I remember talking to a female friend of mine, and she was just like, the whole thing about being in the friend zone. I mean, as a person who has been in the friend zone, no one ever tells you you're in the friend zone. They'll be like, you're just there. My first experience with this, there was this girl, we'll call her Purple. Her name was a color, but let's call her Purple. And, she was new to the block, and all the guys are trying to holler at her, but I was always there with my non-threatening demeanor, whatever. So I'd hang out with her. I'd be in her room. Her mom would be like, oh, it's Matt. Go shopping with them. I think she bought me a bracelet one time, right? And I'm thinking I'm getting closer and closer and closer to the, and then on, I think it was New Year's Eve, it happened. So maybe the day after New Year's Eve, she's like, guess what, Matt? And I'm like, what? She's like, I lost my virginity. I'm like, what? That was mine. But it was never mine. There was no agreement. There was no conversation. So I learned that early enough where it didn't happen like that growing older. But you got people out here buying people's shit and being all that extra. But you know, whatever. So so yeah, I'm talking to my friend and she's like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with him, but he buys me dinner, he buys me lunch, he helped me move. And I'm like, wow, that's some foul shit. But I can't go in there and be like, listen, dude, she's just using you. Whatever you think, you're thinking wrong. I can't do that. Not my place. Plus, I didn't interact with them. I did work with them, but I did not interact with him. And then one day she told me something like he blew up and she couldn't understand why. And I'm like, well, you have been stringing him along. But she couldn't see it. So, say all that shit. I don't think she thought she was a bad person. She just, hey, if this guy wants to buy me dinner, buy me dinner. I didn't force, like that kind of thing. Sometimes it could be blatant. But, so yeah, in the realm of shit, there's things that people do that they shouldn't do, but they do because they don't think it's wrong. And depending who you are, it could be skewed. Like, but I don't need to tell you this. So coming back to the whole thing about the car, but my aunt couldn't, and my dad, now they're good people in the sense that they would never, if something costs $5 to make, they would never charge you $10 to make it. They would never charge you $10 because that's wrong. It costs $5 to make, so they would expect $5 back. I don't know, that business model is a hard one. I'm sure you could make it work at cost, but there's no profit. The profit margins are pretty slim. Now, I learned all that shit when I got to grad school, MBA school. And I was like, oh, profit margins, and oh, okay, that's why all my business failed. Because I'd be buying shit at cost and picking arbitrary prices, and then it never would work out. Now, I did finally figure it out because I was in graduate school, MBA, and I made the headphones. I got them from China, so, the price was low. And then I picked the price, made a value to it, sold it. I told my mom, I said, hey, Mom, I got these headphones over here for here, and I'm selling it for over here for here. She said, why are you robbing them? That's not nice. And I felt bad. Like, what? In a different family, like, you sure you can't squeeze more money out of them? Now, more money out of them would be you guys, and that isn't, but it's that kind of thing. Like, for example, I feel, now this is real, this is random. I feel connected to the people who watch me. Now, in a sense, I met a few, which is cool. And some of you have been watching me for like forever, which is cool. And some people are just popping in. So let's say a person pops in. They're like, wow, this guy, I feel what he's saying. And I feel connected. I feel there's a connection. So I would, because I always tell this, but the lighting is nice out here. At one point, some random person, it's like 10, 15 years ago, they're like, hey, you got X amount of subscribers. How about I give you this product and you give them the link, and I will give you 50% of all the sales that come through your link. Now, that, again, all this stuff, every now and then I'd be like, I was a pioneer, man. I was a pioneer that never knew it. Because this is one of the models that people have. Look at these headphones. These are nice headphones. Look how great they are. And if you want it, click the link, and then they get like a little kickback. But I was like, no, I don't know your product. I don't trust you. So, not happening. Another thing that I pioneered, or I didn't know, I stumbled onto it. Live streaming. This is kind of not live streaming, but at one point, I stumbled on that I could stream in real time. And I was walking around Tokyo streaming in real time, and people were interacting, which is a thing now, But anyway, so just my family wasn't built on, or at least my mom and dad weren't built on getting profits out of other people. And it's a good thing, but you know, the rich get richer and the poor get poor. It's a construct, a concept. It's an idea, a concept. The rich are doing what rich do, but poor need to figure out how not, like buying lottery tickets. I'm gonna share this with you, make fun of me, whatever it is, what it is. So before I started my little diet and living healthy type shit, I used to get a Kit Kat, 2 Kit Kats before I go on my walk. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go on my walk, so I'm gonna burn off all these calories, so it works out. Now, mind you, I'd get Kit Kats even if I wasn't walking. So 2 packs of Kit Kats. I get them from CVS, $1.50. It comes up to $3. So in one day, I would spend $3 on Kit Kats. Not bad. 2 days, $6. 3 days, $9. Whole week, $21. 2 weeks, $42. 1 month, $84. Kit Kats alone. Yes, I know. Say what you got to say. I'm not proud to put those numbers up there. Now, it works for me in the sense that I would be good with those Kit Kats for the rest of the day. I wouldn't buy more. I wouldn't get bags, and I don't eat. But still, it's not good. But just look at it from a money standpoint. $84 a month on Kit Kats. And then I would get Snapples. Most of the time I try to buy them from Giant or get 2 for $1, 6 packs or whatever. But I might end up buying it at CVS too. CVS Snapples are priced at what? 2 for $4? But very quickly I'm spending, and what else would I buy? I would buy what else? Every other morning, I might buy a McDonald's breakfast or a Wendy's breakfast or a Dunkin' Donut breakfast. Not all at the same time, but every other, I would rotate. So those are like $6 each. So just on junk food alone, in a month, I'm probably was spending $200 junk food. Never even noticed it because it's just what I did. But now that I haven't been buying all that shit, I have money. But it's like, that's a poor, I'll say it's a poor mentality thing. Think of all the things that a poor person, and I'm not using poor as like bad, evil, sad, just poor as a mentality. So someone making bad choices, a pack of cigarettes, Netflix, Hulu, like getting all those packages, lottery tickets, any type of online gambling, like those things add up. And you know, it even if you win, you still lose. So it's shit like that that keeps a lot of poor people poor. Now, granted, you may say, but I was born in these conditions of poorness, and that's why I'm poor, which this ties into this thing is just flowing. It ties into this new book I'm reading. So I finished the other book. It has some good points, has some bad points, but moving on. So that book was, what was it called? Let Them. The book I'm reading now is called The Courage to Be Disliked, written by 2 Japanese people. But it's cool because it's like written like a story. This kid who, when I listened to the preview, like, that's me. This kid is going up to some philosopher and he's challenging him on this very point. So the kid's like, I heard that you said that everyone can be happy and anyone can change. And the philosopher it has different voices. So it'll be like, yes, that is correct. And he's like, ha, you're crazy. That's what I would say. That's what I used to say. I'm slowly coming to the point where, but so then they're having a dialogue, and the kid will be like, I'm only like a chapter in, but the kid's like, so the other day I was at a restaurant and the waiter spilled something on my shirt, so I yelled at him. So that means that morning. So that means that anger cannot be controlled. And then the philosopher is like, well, he gives a story about a mom and a daughter, they're yelling. The mom's yelling at the daughter. And then the phone rings. And then the mom picks up the phone and she sees that it's someone important, and she just, all her anger is gone, and she's like, hello? When she hangs up the phone, she starts yelling at the kid. And then the philosopher's like, well, anger is just a tool that can be used to get what you want. It's a way to overpower people and have them submit. And I'm like, this shit clicked. Like, yeah. But it doesn't have to be anger. It could be tears. It could be the lexicon of how you talk. Like when I get, depending on the situation, if someone is bothering me, I'm not going to shout. Well, it may come to that, but I might go on this analytical or etymology, the breakdown of words. That's a good one. It'd be like, you said, I used this one back when I was in high school. This girl was like, but I love you. And I said, but what is love? Love is just a chemical reaction. It's the same as if you were doing crack. So in this moment, maybe you are addicted to the feeling, and I'm just going that way with it. Didn't really change anything, and it's a lot. I said it. That was in high school. I'm 45 now, or 44. But any conversation could have that angle. I usually use it with salespeople because they got a script. I got to dig into my script. Like this happened. The other day I'm upstairs studying. I hear the doorbell. Ain't nobody doorbelling our house. So like my dad, he got to it first. So I'm upstairs like, okay. Then I hear, why don't you get your electric bill and I could tell you more. And I'm like, oh, it's one of these people. Every summer, people come around doing that. So I go down the steps and my dad's like, can you get the bill? And I was just like, listen, every summer, just last week, people come around asking for bills, and I called the electric company and they said that it could be a scam. Once they get your information, they could put it in. They got cancellation fees, blah, 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 blah. Things change. And usually it's, good morning. Usually it's kids, young adults. And usually they're black. Usually it's black young adults who, I guess that's their summer job, whatever. And they just be like, so you're gonna do it? You're gonna do it? Let me get your bill right now. And they just like, high, whatever, selling, whatever. So I'm like, so I'm explaining to the guy, we don't want, he's like, well, if you show me your bill, I could tell you, so my dad's sitting out there. Otherwise, I'm like, we gotta go. But I want to show this. I have this discourse in front of my dad so he knows. So we get the bill, and the guy, like, he points to this. He's like, you see here? This company is based in New York. It says Pennsylvania on the thing, but he says, it's New York. And he's like, you see this price here? You are paying too much. If you switch over, you're going to be paying $75. I'm like, but what about those fees at top? And he's like, well, they'll be cheaper. You're paying too much. Now that part, my dad's like, all right. And I'm like, Dad. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. You give me the paperwork, I'll look at it, and then I'll call you back. So, good. Right now, today's the last day you can do it. You gotta do it right now. I'm like, I can't do it online? He's like, look what happens when you try to go online. And it went to a blank page. That part, because I'm doing coding and shit, so that part, that was like, I didn't say, I was gonna say, and that's the part that got me turned off. how are you going to have a blank page? It should be a redirected page. It should be a this is what happened and blah, blah, blah page. The other part is they don't have any paperwork. How are you going to knock on someone's door? So I said to him, it'd be like if a salesman came to your door selling a car, you wouldn't sign, because it was a contract. He wanted me to sign a contract on my doorstep without any due diligence. And the only thing that worked for this guy is because he's an adult. The other kids, he went with, I was a skeptic like you. And then this guy came, in fact, the guy that just passed. And he sold it to me, and then I called him up. And I saw that my bill was cheaper. And then I called him back to say, thanks, dude. And next thing you know, I'm having an interview, and now I'm here. I'm the regional manager. And my daughter has asthma, and this is clean energy, and it's great. And I'm like, I want to say, we don't care about no clean energy. We do, but that's not the selling point, The selling point is once we get locked in, if we don't like it, we'd have to sign up with another one. We lose the rates that we currently have. I believe I called 2 summers ago, and they're like, we're locked in for the next 5 years at this price, whatever. But, so I'm like, well, can you leave me something? He gives me a business card. The business card doesn't have an email. Like it's just it's a card with a name on it. Like if you can make these, you can make a little A4 paper print. I did. Now I get it. If you're keeping the prices low. So I was just like, eventually we're going back. So I'm using so would you buy a car? And he's like, if it's a good car, yeah, you're going to sign for your $6,000 good car from a guy who just stepped up on, get out of here. That's all I really need to hear. But, yeah. So back to the philosopher. So it's a tool. I don't use that tool. I don't go in my bag to use it because, it is what it is. So anger is a tool, happiness. So long story short, I'm still reading it, but the philosopher, the aim of the book is, which is weird, the courage to be disliked is the title, but at this chapter it's just, everyone can be happy and everyone could change. And the boy's like, but I can't change. But we'll see how that goes. Read the book. I think it's going to be an interesting read. I'm also finishing up Ghostface Killer's book. I'm halfway through. This book is sticking a battery in my back because it's a book about how he, him coming up, making his first album, making his second album, and shit like that. At one point, he's like, I'm going to be rapping when I'm 88. If God willing, if I'm alive, I'm going to be rapping. Because, a lot of people, I be like, I'm 40, man. I'm too old to rap. But if a person that I looked up to, not really. He wasn't my top anything for a while. But now I kind of like the guy. But someone that I listened to back in the day who's saying what they're saying, it gives me perspective. Because I don't really talk to a lot of rappers who put out stuff consistently, So listen to him. So then I took a break and I listened to Iron Man. Wasn't a fan. But even he said he didn't like it. It was dark, blah, blah, blah. Then I listened to Supreme Clientele, and there was a couple songs I remember. But overall, it had a different vibe. It was happier. But he was saying when he made the first one, it was his first album. And a bunch of shit was happening. He was sick, diabetes, blah, 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 life. But yeah, it was, I liked it. Now I'm glad we don't do skits anymore. Not that I listen to albums front to back anymore. I'm of the generation you listen to what you listen to via iTunes, but the skits were long. He had a whole skit, like an hour and a minute, talking about 50 Cent. When 50 Cent made How to Rob or whatever, and he just like, fuck 50 Cent, I'm going da-da-da. But clearly 50 Cent is here. Nothing happened. Some of the lyrics, as you know, old school rappers, questionable. Also, we should cancel him, but it was the time. Not that I'm saying shit to say shit. For those who know, remember that skit where it's like, I'll fucking take you da-da-da, and with a rusty, and at the time that was the thing to say. I don't know if that would work now. It's kind of weird. So yeah, and then what's cool, is as I'm like making my little walking and talking and all that shit, when I put the camera down, I make a little beat here and there. So the other day, I just went through them all. I got like 45 beats. No, 60. I'm up to 60 beats. Now some are like ass water. You know ass water. Diarrhea shit. And I don't mean it in a good way. Like you're trash. I see what I was trying to do, but and others, I'm like, I made that. Clearly I did. So on my phone, I'm actually making these on my phone quality. And I'll be like, damn, that's nice. I start, but yeah, so the album title, I was thinking rhymes and beats. Like it's, cause the Ghostface Killah album, both of them, there's not a lot of hooks. Now it is of that time. Method Man had hooks. Dun, 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 dun. But he didn't have hooks. It was just him doing his Calendar Libertarian Case to the Cup. I also got another book because he mentioned MF Doom. How MF Doom said he was inspired by him because of Nutmeg. And Nutmeg was crazy. According to Ghost, he's like, that made no sense. It seems to make sense. And that inspired MF Doom, which when I heard him, I'm like, wow. So I got his audiobook. That's how I keep it moving, is just get audiobooks. Last year I was doing all jazz people. This year, so far, if I could remember all of them, I did Eve's book, Fat Joe, Jeezy, Will Smith. I'm doing Raekwon. I did Raekwon last year. Doing Ghostface now. Did Rakim. Jay-Z, but an old Jay-Z one. Wyclef, that was a good one. They're all good. Because it's like, Timberland. Who else? I think that's all of them, and then the rest are jazz. But, you know, there's like a story. Like the song, Promiscuous Girl, handle me upon and like he had a story where he's talking, like it's based on a story. They're all based on shit. But yeah. We jumping around. I should call these to walk a mile in a man's shoes. Because basically, by the time I finish one of these, it's an hour, and an hour is, actually, I think it was more than a mile, but just walking and talking. Yesterday, they said it was really hot, hitting like the 100s. So I couldn't walk in the daytime. So then the big storm came and it rained, and then I walked at night, and like at 11:30. Night walking is kind of crazy. Here's the dangers of night walking. One, police be like, not that I'm afraid of police, but when I see them, I'm like, I just got a feeling. Like, you know, you hear the news. I think just the other day on the news, somebody shot somebody in the car. Police shot some guy in the car because someone said he had a gun, but he didn't have a gun. He went to jail and he just got off. That shit is like, there's no justice. So I see a police, now, you know, I ain't doing anything. Ain't got nothing on me. But, so they're there and they be slowing down. There's no one out when I'm out. I'm just walking and listening to music. So we got those. Next, it gets dark. Some places don't have a lot of light. So I'm just like on a swivel, just making sure ain't nobody out to get me. I can't, like right now I'm relaxing. Not that people couldn't do this in broad daylight, but you know, I'm just looking, keeping my ears open for anyone to bum rush me. I got speed on me. When I was in last year, I was racing one of the kids, the only black kid in my class. He was fast, but he didn't beat me. We tied. Actually, I think I won. We did a freeze tag with the whole class. I was flying. I was just, I got speed on me. But yeah, so that's one. The other thing, this is crazy. So I'm walking. I look over and I see an animal. I'm like, oh, it's a cat. What's that cat doing? Then the cat turns around and puts his legs up. That ain't no cat, that's a skunk. And I'm like, why is skunk trying to attack me? I ain't doing nothing. Like, and it's not even in the wild. It's like on someone's porch, or not porch, but like in their backyard, doing, I don't know what the hell he's doing. I seen 2 yesterday. I ain't trying to get sprayed by no skunk. That's just crazy. So I got to keep my eyes out for them. I saw a bunny the other day. There was 2 bunnies. I don't know what they were doing. But when I walked, the one bunny's like running away. The other bunny, he's just standing there. He didn't move. He didn't flinch. He was hood. I didn't know if he was going to bite me. I don't know what bunnies do, but so I kind of moved out the way, ready to kick that. Like, so, but yeah, so night walking is something. I do it because at least where I live is not, it isn't that, but still, you never know. Cars, I walk. I just, everything I do is just to make sure I have options. Japan was different, man. Plus, over here, a car might hit me because, you know, that's what happens over here. In Japan, I'm like basically on a sideless street. There was no sidewalk. I'm just walking, making beats. I'm not even looking up because I know, I felt no one's going to hit me. All right. If you made it this far, oh my gosh, I almost died the other day. I have become a man. There are certain things in life that you got to do to become a man, is to get a badge, and I got one. You get different badges for different things, but I got one. So the other day I'm driving home from school because, you know, I go there, whatever. And I'm driving, listening to Ghostface, and then all of a sudden the car stops. I'm listening to the music, so I noticed I can't accelerate, and then I'm drifting. So I kind of go to the side and pull over. Now I'm on the highway. I'm on a busy highway, and luckily I was in the lane where you can get off the exit. Because if I was on the other side, I would have stopped right there. And the way I stopped, I don't know how that would work because I'm on the highway. But I'm on this side, so I kind of pull over, boom. And then it's happened once before, which you might be saying that's once too many. I gotta get on that. But the last time it happened, I was in the city close to my house, like 10 minutes from my house. And it happened. I didn't know what the hell. Again, I was able to just kind of slide over, and I popped the trunk, and some random guy is like, "Hey man, you need help?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then he helped me out. And I wish I could have, like, I might even make a whole song dedicated to him, because I never got to say thank you. I started my car, like, "Just go." And then I went. He got me a spray. Well, he drove me to the AutoZone place to get a thing that you spray in your car. I told my kids the story of this, and they're just like, "You're going to a stranger's car? Oh my gosh." Which, that's good. They shouldn't be getting in a stranger's car. But I had a good feeling. And, so when this happened again, but I'm on the highway, and I pulled over where what I could have, should have, would have done, put it in neutral and, like, drag it over to the away from the highway, but I just left it there. I got out on the passenger side. That just seems like the good thing to do. I think I heard about people dying because they opened the wrong door. But I popped the trunk, I popped the hood, get my tools, and I got a little portable battery pack. So I feel good. I wanted to, all right, let's get this shit started, because I seen it done. So I got my little battery pack thingy, and I put it on there, and I went into the car, and I'm all like, didn't work. So then I was like, oh yeah, that spray. So I'm like, I got the spray, and I spray up in there, and didn't work. So I'm like, now I'm panicking, but I'm calm. Like, my hand wasn't shaking. So then I called my uncle. I'm like, "Uncle." He's like, "How's it going? How's it going?" Well, he has an accent. I can't do an accent, but wagwan. And I'm like, it's not good. My car stalled. I'm on the highway. He's like, "All right, I'm getting dressed." My uncle works nights, so he might have woke up. I don't know. So he's like, "Can you take the battery out? Like, unscrew it?" I'm like, "I should, yeah." And at one point, he's like, "All right, you can't do that. I'll be there." Like, "Nah, I'll try." And I'm like, because prior, like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months, 3 months, 2.5 months ago, it happened before. And my uncle's like, "You should change your spark plugs and your the things that the spark plugs go in." So I bought all that, and then he showed me. I'm there watching him as he's doing it. And then I was like, "Can you change the battery things?" Because it was Frankensteined all up. So I bought a regular one. So a regular person, my uncle could do anything. He put it on, he could get it off. But I wanted something where I could get it off using one tool. So now that was on there, I was like, yeah, I could. So I'm on the highway, cars and trucks. Every time a truck goes by, my car shakes. It's a little car. And I'm trying to